Hello and welcome to another Bad Comic Review. This time we're looking at Superman, issue 356. This issue was written by Carey Bates, pencils by Curt Swan, inks by Frank Chiaramonte, letters by Ben Oda, colors by Adrienne Roy, and edited by Julius Schwartz. Cover was by Beckler and Giordano. Backup story is The Exile from Krypton, written by Paul Newman, art by Jose Delbo, with inks by Kim DeMulder. Shelly Leferman was the letterer, Jerry Serpe colorist, Julius Schwartz editor. So the main story finds Superman at a ski resort in his civilian ID, and a passing jet accidentally causes an avalanche, but of course Superman's there to save the day. Now what happens is a little bit more complicated than that, because Clark has to kind of fake his disappearance into the avalanche, but that allows him to transform into Superman and save the day. And he learns that the guy that he works with, Steve, is a bit of a jerk most of the time, but he actually does put himself at risk to try and save Clark. So while that was nice and going on, Lana gets absconded with by Vartox. Now you'd think Vartox was up to some no good, but he's not. He's actually there to not only say goodbye to Lana Lang, but also to send Superman a secret message that he needs help. So Superman has to fly out to this planet that Vartox is supposed to be the hero of, and it's Tynola. Now the Tynolians are up to no good because Vartox figured out that they are creating perils for him to fight for some reason, and he's not sure what's going on. But he knows he's being watched, so he has to use his hyperpowers to send a secret message to Superman. And now Superman goes to the planet and poses as a villain so that the two will end up in a fight, and Superman will end up losing. Now the fight has to look real, so they're beating the crap out of each other so that the Tynolians don't catch on that Superman's actually there to help. And we're left with a crazy cliffhanger ending that really is coming out of left field. I didn't see it coming. It was actually a really fun story with really solid art. And Vartox, although his costume is kind of stupid, he's an interesting character because he is on Superman's level, but he's older and more experienced because he's in his late 30s, early 40s, somewhere around there. Where Superman is portrayed in this era as being under 30, somewhere between 25 and 30, right around 28 from what I've gathered on some of the Action Comics issues. So Superman's a little bit younger and a little bit more green as far as combat experience. So Vartox actually has a little bit of an edge on him. Plus his hyperpowers seem to be a little different than Kryptonian superpowers, and a little bit crazier in some instances. But it's got a really cool fight scene between the two, with the storyline being very well explained through Superman's thought bubbles. So we actually have a good idea what's going on. The backup story is about the past from Krypton, where this guy at Lochnar wants to be a tribal leader, but he's really not cut out for it, and he's second in command under this other guy, but he really wants to be the chief. And when some space aliens come down and tell him that they've been watching him and they think he should be the leader, he agrees to work with them. And he's kind of a sucker because they play him right out the gate. They give him this helmet that symbolizes his power, and they take the other tribal leaders onto their vessel, and Lochnar quickly figures out that he's been used, and he spends as much time as he can to create a rebellion and free his people and take the bad guys away. It's a very short story, but it is a good story of redemption. And it was an interesting story. I didn't have a problem with it, but it's just very short. But the main story is easily the best of the two. Like I said, the backup story is good. It's just very short and very abrupt with a couple leaps in logic that won't make sense to older readers. But all around a good all ages comic with two solid stories. The main story being far superior, but the backup story is not terrible or anything like that. I would have to say though, as far as Silver Age stuff goes, this was a really good issue. The primary story was very entertaining, but it's definitely trying to target that 12 to 18 demographic, but this one leaned a little bit more mature than previous issues. So I thought it was a solid read with a fairly complex plot, few hokey items in there, but overall a fun, solid read, and definitely worth the $4 I paid for my copy. So I would rather pick up a book like this that's maybe aimed at a younger audience, but is vastly more entertaining than most modern books coming out now. So a good expenditure of the money that a new issue would have cost, and way more entertaining, plus more pages. So a solid recommendation on this, even though it looks like it's a two-parter. I would definitely recommend this. That's gonna do it for this one. Thank you so much for listening and supporting the channel. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss future reviews. If you'd like to help the channel out in other ways, links are in the description to various support methods, including the Patreon. And as always, we hope to see you on the next one.